Now, if you want to squat in the downswing like you see the best players in the world, I'm going to show you two moves which amateur golfers are consistently missing in their swing that prevents them from not only squatting, but actually receive the powerful, accurate benefits from squatting. So let's get straight into it. Now, the two moves you are missing is number one, hip flexion in the downswing. So making sure we're getting some decent flex. That gives you the actual squat move. We're going to dive into that in detail. And secondly, you are missing keeping your left side down in your downswing, keeping your tilt. We're going to get into that with great drills for this absolutely in this video. So number one there, hip flexion. Now this is the missing key of so many golfers, because what golfers try to do to be able to squat is what it says on the tin ultimately, and that is squatting. Wrong. If you just try to squat in that downswing and just lower yourself down, you're going to hit really weak and you're going to potentially chunk the daylights out the golf ball. So the squatting move that we see the best players in the world do is hip flexion. That's what they're doing. They're moving their left hip back. So as soon as they start their downswing, you hear best players in the world like Tommy Fleetwood, for example, talk about this move. Justin Rose, left hip going back to start that downswing. Now, when that left hip goes back, moves into flexion, gets deeper, you're going to see as a result, my knees, especially with that trail knee, gains a little bit of flex. So it gains flex as I do so. Okay, so what we will also notice is how the upper body starts to move down. When the pelvis goes back, you're going to see there how upper body moves down. So it gives you that squatted movement. So when we get that left side moving back, which I'm going to show you a brilliant drill for this, that gets you that squat move. It is by no means trying to squat. Left side going back gets you the squat move. Now, the squat move in that downswing is not a big movement. A lot of you think it is like this huge movement, way more than probably the biggest squatter in the downswing, Rory McIlroy, even does. It's a very small movement. It's very small, but it's very important. So, because it helps you with what we're going to talk about, the actual application of the squat at the end of the video as well via another good drill. But it is a very small movement. Left hip going back into flexion. It's a small lowering. It's not a big one. So that's why I'm putting so much emphasis on this, guys, because a lot of you have a very unrealistic expectation of what to see when you're squatting. Now, my all-time favorite drill to teach this is grab yourself something like a chair, a stool, a golf bag, anything like that. This is perfect for getting more hip flexion. Now, what I want you to do is put this stool, let's say around half a grip's distance, but put that behind your left hip. So half a grip's distance. Now, what we want to do, we want to, as we start that downswing, we want to close in the gap between us and the stool, chair, bag, what have you, as we're moving down. Preferably, if we're doing it really well, hit it with that left hip. If you are making that intent, let's say I'm doing a real soft one, just to make sure my left hip is going back, closing in the gap, I'm gonna be gaining more hip flexion. So even there, I did it nice and slow. I still didn't hit it. So, but I did get that left hip going more back. That's why doing something like a drill where you really have to push yourself to be able to do it, it's gonna make a bigger response for the body than, let's say, just having a chair or a stool here and try to push it back like a lot of early extenders do. If we give yourself that gap, it's going to make it that little bit more challenging, and it's going to force your body to do the movement more, especially when we're starting it off soft, just to learn it. So half a grip's distance, brilliant. Hip flexion is what gets you that squat look. Okay, secondly, so this is a huge one that you're missing, and that is your hip tilt. Now, if you actually do the first one really well, getting yourself into hip flexion, you'll naturally do this anyway, but it's so important to know. So hip tilt. So we want to keep the left side of our pelvis for a right-handed golfer, flip it around for the left. We want to keep the left side going down as we're turning. So I have the saying on my channel when I talk about squatting is squatting to the left, squatting to the left leg. So that's going to get you that hip flexion, but it's also going to be keeping the tilt. So tilt is so important because when we have the tilt, it enables us to continue to turn into that left side. And of course, squatting is one of the big reasons why we do it, is we want to have a good base to be able to turn from. So what we see so many amateur golfers do when they try to squat, just squatting down, you're going to see how their hip tilt will actually get level. So that means they have actually no basis to be able to turn from because they lost their hip tilt. When you just squat dead straight down, left hip raises up, quite often the upper body also tilts too much away from the target, can cause some big fat shots. So what this does, this just enables you and ensures you that you've got a base to be able to turn from. Golf balls on the ground, we need to stay tilted as we turn, and especially as we squat. So get that hip flexion. We need that side of the stick here. So as you can see from the representation, you need to see that down as you're turning, getting that left hip go back. So if we can get the down, getting that stick or the left side to stay down as we turn, but getting that left hip to go back, you're going to be squatting every single time. So a great drill to do for this is exactly what I'm showing here. Get an alignment stick, put it through your belt loops, tiny bit on the right, a lot on the left. So now what we do here, we just want to, again, have that stick go down and around. So they both train. That drill we did with a stool and this one here with a stick, they both train hip flexion and keeping tilt. It's whatever one you like the most. For myself, I've done more of this drill in the past. I really, really like it. So stick going down and around as we start that downswing. Love the drill, really gets that pressure into the left side, lovely as well. Really good for ball striking. Really good for how we control our pivot, because another good little thing when we do this, we get the left side going down and around, the upper body stays nicely on top of the middle of the lower body, so then your low point gets controlled super, super well. I absolutely love this drill. So what to talk about now is super important. So for those of you who are still watching, absolutely, you're going to find out the actual reason of why we want to squat and how to train the part of squatting that gives you the most power and actually turns you more through impact. So let's get straight to that. So why do we even want to squat? And what's the drill to get us the power from the squat? So squatting, as we said, is there for a base to be able to turn. That's one, that's actually very minor. But secondly, it's there to be able to get the squat back out the ground again. So just like when you're doing a vertical jump, you lower down to go back up again. That is exactly what squatting is. It's about spiking what we call your vertical force. So if we see a player in this explanation here, squat, for example, maybe they're getting some good stuff in there, but let's say they're squatting and they just stay low. Again, we'll see them normally fat it from the radius of the swing getting too low, but they're going to hit the ball actually shorter, because the powerful part of the squat, as we said, is the vertical part, is the extension, the coming out of the ground again. But be careful here, because we're not doing it like a vertical jump, going down and then up with both legs. We're just doing it with the left leg. So, because we're squatting left, why keeping the tilt is so important, squatting left, when we're squatting and then loading into this left side and the downswing, getting that pressure left, what we do, we extend the left side to get the power coming back out the ground again. That's where the speed comes from. That's where the whip in the golf swing comes from, is that loading left, that squatting into that left side and then snapping that lead side coming out the ground. You can see from the down the line view, what does it do? So loading, squatting left, left hip going back, and then left side straightening. Look at the turn I get through the golf ball. So it gives me that last whippy bit of turn. It gets the power, the vertical force coming out the ground. That's the biggest power producer in the golf swing. Gets it all in there. So good thing is I've got a brilliant drill for this. Now, both these drills I've talked about will get this into your golf swing, because if you have the stick, and the stick is going down around, as soon as it starts to really go around, your left leg is going to naturally straighten, it's going to naturally extend. When you're doing the chair drill or the stool drill, pushing the left hip back and back and back and back and back, we'll get that left leg straightening. It will do it. So brilliant. But if you want to feel that straightening movement, all you need to do, grab an alignment stick, put it on the ground there, and you put it just on the toe line, a little bit away from you as so. And all we want to do here, we want to straighten that left leg, because if we straighten the left leg here, you're going to notice at how the stick flies up into the air at right around kind of where a driver ball position would be. Just like so. Really, really good one. So what we're not doing, we're not dragging that stick up. We're just letting that left leg straighten to get that stick to elevate. But when we straighten that left leg, make sure you're feeling like the left hip at the same time goes backwards. So we're loading into that left side squat. Look at the pressure in the stick and then snap. That's what we want. Brilliant, brilliant drill. So absolutely get the squat and get it in your swing every time. Left hip going back and making sure we're keeping our tilt. But as well, guys, make sure you get that left side extending to get the power at the ground. Otherwise, the squat is pretty useless. So, okay, let's get those movements in. We'll absolutely be able to squat nice, powerfully, and get that good consistency from it also. So if you enjoyed this video, click that like button. If you want more golf instruction just like this, hit the subscribe button and hit that bell button too to be notified every time I put out a video.